through December 6th. I showed it to Marcus and I said,
maybe it's time to go to Las Vegas again.
And he looked at it and said,
maybe it's time to go to Las Vegas again.
So we did what you do then, and we started looking at hotels. It is Sunday, November 13th, 2022, and on this week's edition of Sunday Sofa Time, we're talking about why right now is a fantastic time to go cruising. Yes, I know a lot of you are watching this thinking, Morgan, when is not a fantastic time to go cruising? But there was a certain turn of events, some information and some things that I've gone through in the past few days, which have just made me realize that right now, before the end of 2022, if you are planning some kind of vacation, it is a great time to plan a cruise. And we're gonna go through all these things in this video, but if you don't know who I am, I'm Morgan from the very unofficial travel guides. I travel all around the world to popular and not so popular tourist destinations to give you a very honest, unofficial look at what it was like to be there. We do a lot of cruises on this channel, but that's not all we do. And as I mentioned in last week's Sunday Sofa Time, we will be doing a whole bunch of Orlando stuff coming up this January. So if those are the kind of things that you're interested in, maybe check and see if you are subscribed already, and if you're not, why not do it? Okay, what has happened? What is this information that I got recently that made me realize that now is a really great time to go for a cruise if you are planning a trip? And it all begins with a mail I got from KLM. KLM is an airline over here in Europe. They're based in Amsterdam. They belong together with Air France, and the whole thing kind of belongs to Delta. I'm a member of Flying Blue, which is the KLM's frequent flyer club, and they send out mails all the time with all these offers for flights, and I usually don't even open them or click on them, but for some reason, one came just a couple days ago and I decided to open it and click on it. And they were offering a lot of special deals to certain destinations, and one of them was Las Vegas. Marcus and I love Las Vegas. We've been there, gosh, we used to go there at also once a year, but we haven't been back there for a while. And one reason is it became hard to get to from Germany. There weren't really feasible connections from Europe over to Las Vegas. We usually had to do like Hamburg, Paris, Atlanta, Las Vegas, and not fun. So we kind of took it off the list for a while, and I was surprised to see that now KLM is flying directly from Amsterdam to Las Vegas. And I clicked on this offer for Las Vegas and went through all the dates, and I found a flight to Las Vegas from Hamburg, Germany for 395 euros and 95 cents. Huh? The last time I flew to the United States to visit my family in Minnesota, I think I paid 1,200 euros. I have flown to Miami and to Orlando for around 600-700 euros, but I don't think I've ever flown to the United States for less than 400 euros. That's crazy to me. So when I found this, the dates are November 29th, so just a couple weeks, through December 6th, I showed it to Marcus and I said,
maybe it's time to go to Las Vegas again.
And he looked at it and said,
maybe it's time to go to Las Vegas again.
So we did what you do then, and we started looking at hotels. We have stayed in a lot of hotels in Vegas. We know our way around the Strip. We've also stayed downtown. And we know that if we're going to Vegas, we want to stay on the Strip because that's where all the things are that we want to see. And I started looking at hotel prices and realized very quickly,
this trip ain't gonna happen.
Even Bally's, and for any of you who don't know a lot about Vegas, there are some really big, newer, fancy properties that have a lot of amenities, and there are some older, traditional ones that have less amenities and are just, a little bit traditional, and Bally's is definitely one of the older ones without a lot of bells and whistles. It has a great location, and one advantage is it usually is very affordable. But even a room at Bally's for this week was going to be around $3,000. So flight to Vegas for less than $400, great. Hotel room at Bally's for $3,000, not gonna happen. I posted about this on Patreon, and people there were writing saying that they're planning travel at the moment too, and that hotel prices all over the place are skyrocketing. Joyce Hardy wrote, I've been looking to travel and you're definitely correct about hotel prices. It's a shocker. So many people are traveling now that this situation allows it. A local radio station calls it COVID revenge. Roberta Biala says, I hear you, my friend. Joel and I were thinking about trying to go to London next year because the airfare was so reasonable, but it's the hotels. But I do agree, it's even worse in the US. And there are more here. If you want to join that discussion, go over to patreon.com/veryunofficial. So this is the main reason why going on a cruise right now is a really good idea. And we're gonna go more into the details because I looked for the price of some cruises and compared the same dates for some popular tourist and vacation destinations, and I think you're gonna be shocked when we go through these, and we're gonna do it right after this commercial break. Did you get one? What was it about? Write it in the comments below, please. Let us begin by searching for a cruise on Royal Caribbean. I think a lot of you know Royal Caribbean. Even if you haven't cruised with them, you know of them. You kind of know what they offer. Our most recent cruise was with Royal Caribbean on the Wonder of the Seas, an amazing ship. We had an amazing time. By now, the first video from that series will be online. It went online just a couple days ago, so check that out in the library. Royal Caribbean is a really good value for money. Of course, they're getting a little bit more expensive, but I just went looking here for a 7-night cruise. Here's one on Oasis of the Seas, leaving December 11th. Of course, there are other prices there that are much higher, but we just picked this December 11th cruise, kind of went through and looked for the, like basically the least expensive outside view or ocean view cabin, because I figure if you're staying in a hotel, you also are gonna have some kind of view. Went for the cheapest deal here, and you can see for 2 people on a cruise with an ocean view on one of the biggest cruise ships in the world, it's 1,498 euros, which is like, I'm bad at math, $750. Oh, it's dollars, $750 per person. And that is for the ship, all the destinations, all your food, a water park, all the amazing shows, basically everything included except the booze you're gonna drink, and if you want to pay for somebody to show you around on one of the excursions. $750 per person for a cruise on the Oasis of the Seas. That is a good price. So pay attention to the dates. That's December 11th through December 18th. Now, I also went searching for the price of some popular hotel destinations or places that you just want to go and stay. And so if we go back to Las Vegas here, I'm over on Expedia.com right now. I picked the Mandalay Bay Resort because the Mandalay Bay, they don't necessarily have a water park, but they have like a big wave pool and beach. And as far as amenities go, that makes Mandalay Bay very special. The location of Mandalay Bay isn't so great, but for some reason, I would kind of put Mandalay Bay in the same category as a cruise ship just because of this big water paradise they have in the back as far as amenities go. Of course, they also have great shows and great restaurants and great bars and stuff like that, but there you're gonna be paying for all the food. But if we just continue here and look at what a room for Mandalay Bay would cost for that same week, those same dates, picking the least expensive room here, Resort 2 Queen. I mean, it's definitely gonna have a window, so, you know, outside view. And you see here, $1,302.78. Yes, that is less than the cruise. But remember, this is just for the hotel room. No shows included, sort of a water park included. You're definitely getting much, much more for your money by going on the Royal Caribbean cruise during these dates than you are for just staying in the hotel in Vegas. And Vegas isn't even warm in December. It's like, it's in the 50s and 60s there. The Royal Caribbean cruise, definitely gonna be warm there. Next place I wanted to check out, because this is someplace that will be warm and sunny, at least you'll have the beach and the sun, which you will also on that cruise, was Miami Beach. And I picked the Lowe's Hotel here because just because that's a place where we've stayed before and I know it. And I think it's pretty good value for money as far as Miami Beach goes. Looking at the least expensive room they offered here and going to find out what it would cost, and that is going to be $3,822 for a week just for the hotel. And Miami Beach, everything else in Miami Beach is super expensive. So that's going to cost you way more than going on a cruise to go to Miami Beach for a week. Let's look at New York City, shall we? Another place that I haven't been in a while, but I have been there, and it was before my cruise on the Anthem of the Seas to Bermuda, which was a fun time. Stayed in that solo balcony cabin. That was pretty cool. And the night before I boarded the ship, I stayed in this yotel. Yotel has a cool, fun, sort of young vibe to it. The rooms were very, very small. I made a video of my room. Definitely not a Morgan-approved bathroom in any sense of the term. It's just basically what you have is a bed, a window, and then enough space to walk around the bed into a glass cabinet, which is the bathroom. So pick the person you're traveling with carefully if you're gonna stay at the yotel. But let's look at what that luxury would cost you for the same dates in New York City. Cheapest room here, $2,751, basically $2,752 for the same dates. And it's gonna be cold in New York City. And I keep repeating myself, but that is just for the hotel. And that's what brings me to the point that at the moment, cruising it seems to be so much more affordable than going anyplace else and staying on land. And these are, of course, the prices for cruises before the end of the year, sort of last minute offers. And in fact, I also went to see if we could get an even less expensive cruise. So I checked out Carnival. We have done one Carnival cruise. I will definitely be cruising with Carnival again, definitely next year, or most likely next year. And I think Carnival is also a good value for money, but of course, they do have some older ships, so kind of got to look at what you are booking. But let's just play around here. This 7-night cruise, basically the same dates, going to the Mexican Riviera from Los Angeles on not one of their oldest ships, the Carnival Panorama, going through here, trying to find the least expensive cabin. Oh, I guess I already found it. $1,488. So actually, wow. Actually, I didn't realize this when I was going through it, but it's basically the same price as the Oasis of the Seas, and the Oasis cruise is a much better deal. I think a lot of people who are maybe on the fence about cruising, one of the reasons that they might not want to book a cruise is because they think a land vacation is going to help them save some money, but obviously
It's not.
At least not before the end of the year. What do you think about this? Are you surprised? I mean, if you haven't been planning any travel lately, then I think you probably didn't realize that hotel prices are jacked way up all over the place, but this is a perfect example. And if you have a week of vacation that you want to use before the end of the year, I would definitely recommend looking at cruise prices, because I can't imagine that you are going to find I just can't imagine that you're going to get more bang for your buck than that. As always, I'm interested in hearing your ideas about this, your thoughts in the comments below. And speaking of comments, now will come the time on Sunday Sofa Time where I comment on your comments live on air. In last week's Sunday Sofa Time, we talked about a bunch of subjects, but one of them was that Carnival Cruises has added sort of some extra fees in relation to how much food you can order in the main dining room. We went through it all last week, and these comments are on that video. The first one is from Mike Krager. Mike writes, "You can get ice cream for dessert in the MDR at breakfast. They actually have a few different dessert selections. I have a problem with people that order a couple of entrees that want to try, but waste because they don't like, and then order a third entree they know they like for dinner anyway. maybe just try one entree so you don't waste two. Have you noticed inflation at the grocery store? It's not like cruise lines haven't seen the same cost increases. So what Mike is talking about here is not only are they adding a fee for the amount of food that you order in the main dining room, but also they are turning off the 24-hour ice cream machines to make them only like, what is it, 18-hour ice cream machines? Less than that. You can't go to the ice cream machine 24 hours a day. And this has become a topic of discussion for many loyal Carnival cruisers and other people online. And yeah, it all has to do with just the amount of waste that is generated. And I think a lot of people, when they go on vacation, they sort of turn off their moral compass in a way and forget about things like that. And so that's definitely one good thing about this. And like Mike is saying, things at the grocery store cost more now too. So it's not like we can't expect the cruise lines to have to adjust. Next comment is from Precious Little Snowflake. They write, I love to eat, but getting through an appetizer, main course, and the dessert is already hard enough. Sometimes I'll skip the appetizer just so I can enjoy my dessert more. Been there. I cannot imagine eating 2 main course items unless I skipped appetizer and dessert. I don't see this as a problem, especially since I really never get all that hungry on a cruise. And a lot of you have had comments like this that you don't feel like that this is gonna be a big problem. Definitely not a problem for me. I have never ordered 3 main courses in the main dining room. It's not like I even go eat in the main dining room very often. If you want to eat a lot of food, why don't you just go to the buffet anyways, you know? But there are some people who had some critical comments about this, and one of them is Dan Cooper. Dan writes, I've never ordered a third entree, but I think the charge is a terrible idea. It's the principle. It's a slippery slope. First they add this charge, who knows what extra charges they will think of next. Before you know it, it'll be like flying Ryanair or Spirit. Part of the fun of cruise ship dining is trying new things, and passengers should not be discouraged from doing so. Plus, you can have as much food as you want from the buffet. Exactly. So why single out those who may want a third entree? I mean, it's kind of a good point. Why is it that there is no extra charge for like going back to the buffet a third time, but if you're ordering an entree, that costs extra? I wonder, I don't know. I was gonna say if it's like higher quality ingredients in the main dining room, but I know that's not the case because on just about every cruise I've ever been on, the stuff that is served in the main dining room is usually being served in the buffet that night anyways. Maybe they just have realized that a lot more food is wasted in the main dining room than at the buffet, and that's something that's really easy to sort of observe when you're cleaning up the tables and the plates, you know? I understand what Dan is saying here about how like flying with Ryanair or Southwest or Spirit, that like you have to pay extra if you want a bag and you have to pay extra if you want to reserve your seat and things like that. And we've seen that happen in other situations as well. I don't know if cruise lines are going to do this now. I guess we'll have to see. I don't think that this is a definite sign that all cruise lines are going to do this and that everything is going to become an extra charge now. And personally, I think it's easy to reasonably argue for why this is okay. So that's my opinion about it. If you are a fan of cruising and like to hear stories about things going right and horribly wrong while traveling, check out my book. It's called Getting Stitches on a Cruise Ship. It's filled with true stories of things that have happened to me around the world. Some of them fun and funny, some of them surprising, and some of them kind of sad. It's a quick, easy read, something fun for you to take a look at while you're on the treadmill, on the stationary bike, or while you're hanging out at the pool. Make sure you give me a thumbs up before you head on out of here, and I hope you have a fantastic rest of the day, whatever day this is you're watching Sunday Sofa Time. See you next week.